You guys ready?
Yes.
Let's do it. Welcome into episode 5 of Rangers Deep in the Heart podcast, where I take you inside the Rangers organization through the players, their families, and the staff behind it. The show is presented by Justin, the official boot of the Texas Rangers. I'm Hannah Wing. Joining me today is Rangers catcher and part-time relief pitcher Andrew Knizner and his fiancé Ally. Guys, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Let's get it going.
Ally, I know that you work in sports media, so is it weird being on the other side of the interview this time around?
Yeah, this is kind of weird. I work for the ESPN National Radio Network and podcasts, so I'm constantly selling podcasts all day long, talking about Pat McAfee and Adam Schefter and Greeny, so this is exciting to kind of be on the in the spotlight for it.
We have a seasoned pro. You know exactly what to do, so it'll be a lot of fun. Well, Andrew, you signed a 1-year deal with Texas this offseason after 5 major league years with the Cardinals organization. What about Texas was the right choice for you?
There was a lot of things that were appealing to come here and play in Texas. You know, obviously playing for the defending world champs was, at the top of the list. So, I knew I was coming in on a really good team. There's a lot of things as far as coming here and continuing to develop as a player. Bobby Wilson, the catching coach, has been absolutely amazing. So he's totally changed my catching and turned my career around in that aspect. And obviously knew some other coaches, Mike Maddox and Donnie Ecker. So I had some guys that I knew. So I knew I was coming into a good spot where I can continue to grow as a player.
You mentioned, and we talked about this at spring training as well, coming in already knowing Maddox and Ecker. What were your initial conversations with them when you signed with Texas?
Great combos, and really it was just picking up where we left off. I've always had good relationships with them, especially Mad Dog, and being able to come in and at least know the coaches and kind of know the system really helped ease that transition.
Ally, this is also a transition and an adjustment for you. So when you found out that Andrew was coming to the Rangers, what was your reaction?
Yeah, exciting. Anywhere that he feels like he belongs, I'm good with. We were long distance for 5 years and then lived together for the first time last year in St. Louis. And so I was like, hey, wherever you want to go, as long as I'm with you, I'm good with that. So, and Dallas is not the worst place to be. We'll say that.
That is a very good point.
Yeah.
And Andrew, you've spent your entire professional career with the St. Louis organization. So what is the biggest adjustment coming over to a new franchise?
I think the biggest thing is, how am I going to fit into the clubhouse, which I've never had a problem with, but it's always that fear of the unknown. There was only one player that I'd ever played with, on this roster, which was Adolis Garcia, who used to be a Cardinal, which we have a great relationship. He's a funny guy, he's great. But, you're coming into a totally different clubhouse, totally different dynamic. Like I said, I did know some of the coaches, which did help ease that transition. But, that was my biggest worry was like, oh, my gosh, I got to learn, so many new guys, got to learn the personalities, especially the pitching staff. But, this team is amazing. The guys on this team are great. They're winners. They have a great attitude every single day. And, they really are the ones that made it easy for me and made me feel like I fit in.
When it comes to that team camaraderie, I'm sure it felt like the first day of school at spring training. What do you remember the very first time you walked into the Rangers clubhouse?
It did feel like the first day of school.
I was like,
oh my gosh.
First day of school. I was like recording him. I'm like, bye.
Yeah.
With his backpack, literally, with his iPads and his scouting reports.
Backpack.
Like, he has a backpack and everything. Anyways.
No, it was great. I mean, every single one of the guys, it's hard to learn everybody in one day. So I was just trying to put my best foot forward with everybody, introduce myself, and really just start building those relationships as fast as I could, because spring training, it is a long period of time, but in the grand scheme of things, it's pretty quick. So I'm like, I need to know these guys as fast as I can, learn them, and kind of, join that Ranger culture as fast as I can. So, it was great. Those guys are awesome.
Especially, too, as a catcher, how do you quickly adjust and learn an entirely new pitching staff in those few weeks in spring?
Well, kind of the easy part is figuring out, what kind of pitches they throw and learn the shapes and the movement of the pitches. That's the easy part. The tough part is figuring out what's going on inside their mind. That's really the big part of catching is obviously their stuff and how to use their stuff, but you really have to understand, in a big situation, what does that guy want to throw? Where does he want to throw it? What's he going to feel comfortable? Because, the catcher's purpose is to serve the pitcher. And at the end of the day, you want to make sure you're on the same page and you guys have a, really good game plan and understand and have that, that catcher-pitcher relationship to best execute the pitch.
Yeah.
When you first came into the Rangers organization, who on the pitching staff do you feel like you clicked with the quickest?
That's a good question. Everybody's different, especially pitchers. I don't want to say it, live on air, but all pitchers are a little bit different creatures out there on the mound, which you have to be because you're the center of attention. So each guy deals with it a different way. But, really everybody was great. I can't really name one guy that was better than the next. Each guy is different, which I knew going in, which is the same as, anywhere you go. Everybody's a little bit different.
Well,
but
you'd already talked to them as soon as you signed.
I did do that. Once I signed,
Yeah.
I started, I got the phone number
Texted
list.
the travel secretary, got all the phone numbers of all the pitchers.
And I started making calls before spring training just to check in, introduce myself, and really just kind of start that process before we got to spring training so we could kind of hit the ground running once we started, throwing bullpens and throwing in the game. So trying to be a little proactive.
I feel like that's why you went in with a good rapport already with them. You know?
Yeah.
You kind of already knew like how they want you to set up, what their favorite pitch to throw is, what they've been working on in the off season. So yeah, he's very proactive. He's a nerd kind of.
Where does that proactive mentality come from? Is that something that you've always done throughout your career, high school, college, and especially professionally?
Well, I think I learned a lot of it in the classroom.
His mom.
Yeah, my mom was always big on, grades first, getting straight A's and really performing in the classroom, which I think helped my athletic career because now, I'm doing so much game prep. It's like the best way I describe it is like I'm studying for a different test every single day. There's new material. Every hitter's different. They're adjusting. The hitters that we're facing, and the pitchers are constantly changing. What do they feel good with? What don't they feel good with? So it's like I'm studying every single day for a test every single day. But from a young age, that was kind of ingrained in my mind was like, you have to prepare, you have to be ready for everything, in the classroom, and then that just translated to, being on the field. But, as I got into the big leagues with the Cardinals, I was playing behind one of the best catchers of all time. So, Yadier Molina had the ultimate respect of any pitching staff because of who he was, multiple World Series, almost the most innings caught in baseball history. Like he's seen it all, done it all. So for me being a rookie, I was like, how am I going to gain the respect of a staff when I'm playing behind one of the greatest catchers of all time? So I knew I had to go above and beyond to be prepared and be ready for anything a game situation can throw at me because
Never know.
You never know, and you're playing behind one of the best. So I just kind of started with that, and it's kind of built, and I've refined it, year in and year out, and have a pretty good system.
And you still are playing behind one of the best. Jonah Heim is coming off of a Gold Glove and an All-Star season. Ally, I want to get your perspective. How have you seen Jonah and Andrew bond spring training up until the first few months of the season?
Yeah, I feel like Jonah was great. That was like my first question when he came. I was like, how was Jonah? What was it like to meet him? And he was great all his spring training. I think like helping you get into the routine and like what the dynamic was in the clubhouse. So he was very helpful in that sense. And Kenzie's a dream. She's such a sweetheart. Love their kids. So we love like working with them in tandem and having them, to support us and however we can support them.
And Kenzie just had their third baby little champ. So cute. But he's been on the bereavement list for a few games this season and also the paternity list recently as well, which gives you quite a few starting opportunities. So in those settings, what do you hope to prove?
I don't think I try to prove anything. My job is, regardless of if I'm going to play once a week, once a month, or every single day, like my job is to show up every day prepared. And that's kind of how I base kind of my success is like, can I go into a game ready to work with the pitching staff and give our team the best chance to win? So, it's just the constant mindset of how do I stay ready for any opportunity? It might not be a start, but maybe I have to come in extra innings and catch extra innings or, be ready if somebody goes down. So, it's just that constant battle of being prepared, staying ready, and just, going out there and trying to do my best to help the team win.
It seems like preparation and being proactive are two things that are very important to you. So in a game setting, let's say you're coming off of a start, what do you do right after the game ends to prepare for the next opportunity?
A lot of it is you come up with a plan, you try to execute the plan, hopefully it works, and you call a no-hitter, and then it's great, and then you're like, yes, A+. But sometimes it doesn't always work out like that. So, you really have to reflect too. So go back, rewatch the game, what worked, what didn't work, and then you have to make the adjustment. Like I said, there's always moving parts in baseball, and there's so much luck and randomness in the game too that you have to understand like what's real and what's not. Like sometimes a guy will beat you on a pitch that he has no business getting a hit on, but you have to understand like that's the game. Like you're playing professional hitters too, and
Yep.
sometimes that's just how the game goes. But it's that constant battle of prepared, try to execute, and then reflect, and then make the adjustments.
Yep.
This season, you have made strides defensively behind the plate, especially when it comes to your pitch framing, especially calling strikes at the bottom of the zone. How have you made such quick adjustments in such a short amount of time?
When I signed with the Rangers, I got a couple of texts from a couple of different people. Jose Trevino, one of the guys, basically saying like Bobby Wilson, the catching coach, is going to totally change your life. And I'm like, okay,
that's what he said.
That was, a big reason why I decided to come play in Texas was because of Bobby. And, once we signed, I think we came to Dallas, I signed the paperwork, did my physical. My next trip was across the state of Florida to Tampa to visit with Bobby, where we started kind of going over like what the plan was going to be once we got to spring training. So I had pretty much a month or so before spring training. I was sending Bobby videos. We're talking back and forth to kind of start working on the process of, what his mentality is, catching, like his coaching philosophy. And then when we got to spring training, it's just work. Just work. And, Bobby's played for a long time, so he gets it. He knows exactly what we need as players. So he kind of cuts through all the, the BS and gets straight to the point, which is great. But I mean, just buying into his program and buying into his philosophy of catching, it's great. And obviously it's kind of changed around my whole career from behind the plate. So I owe it all to him.
Ally, how would you describe Bobby Wilson's coaching philosophy?
Oh my goodness. Well, I know the amount of preparation and communication they have just day to day, whether Andrew's playing, not playing, starting, not starting. I feel like every single day, just his stance, how he's setting up his secondary stance, how he's doing this, how he's working on throwing, how he's blocking balls. And I mean, you see it in the numbers, like he's proving that it's working. So I'm grateful for Bobby and like their relationship, because obviously it has changed your whole career so far behind the plate. So
what would you say is the most important impact that Bobby's had on your game this season? Obviously, we talked about framing, but is there another aspect that you really feel like you've improved on this year because of him?
There's a lot of things. Like, when we talk about preparation, Bobby's extremely prepared as well. And I think what's really nice to have on a team is like a coach that I can almost go to that's almost like a player, in a sense. And like I said, Bobby played for a long time. So the communication we have, not only about like the fine aspects of catching, like the mechanics, right? We do that stuff every day, but like just having like a sounding board is great. Whether it's, hey, what are you seeing out on the field? Like, do you think, this hitter is going to sit on this pitch, or, hey, what do you think? Do you think I need to set up a different way or move up in the catching box, slide closer to the hitter? Like, I know I can go to Bobby for absolutely any question, anything, and he always has a good response for me, and he can help me out and give me some good direction.
It really stands out that you traveled across the state of Florida to go visit with him before the season started. Why is it important to you to have those relationships prior to spring training?
Well, like I said earlier, it's like spring training is a decent chunk of time. It seems like spring training lasts forever, but really in the grand scheme of things, it is short. So to be able to buy into all these different philosophies and
it's like getting through the growing pains. Almost.
Yeah. So you want to speed the learning curve up as much as you can, because once you get to the first game of the season, it's like we need to win now.
Yep.
So if I can get everything out of the way before game one of the season and be as a finished product as I can be, obviously going to continue to learn and grow throughout the season, but being able to be ready for game one and being able to help the team win game one is the most important thing. Yep. So whatever I can do before that is top of the list.
He has impacted your games in so many positive ways, which I'm sure just leads to positive things off the field as well. So, Ally, how have you seen a difference in Andrew at home and off the field since working with Bobby?
What's my SO plus score? What is it today? Was it over? I mean, we're like constantly checking different numbers and looking at different things, but I mean, I see his excitement now, like how he's moved up in the ranks of overall catchers in all of the big leagues to be, I don't know, ninth, I think was the last time I looked at it or whatever you are, to like go from whatever he was to ninth in all the big leagues, just to change his whole like mood and attitude. I mean, he's always been pretty good at like not getting too high or getting too low, because baseball's a long and hard season. It's a game designed to fail. And obviously, you know, when you have a bad game, it's not like fun all the time, but being able to see how he's improved and how he gets excited about it and just to want to continue to improve is what I like watching him do. So I'm like fully bought in too now. I'm like, what was your score? What was this? What was that? Where are you now? Bottom of the zone this, on the black. So it's fun to look at.
So what is your favorite stat to look at on a daily basis? Which one do you feel like you look
There's
at the
a lot
most?
I don't like to look at. Probably like your rank or like the SL Plus scores. That's what it's called, right? SL Plus? Yeah. So that's always exciting to look at.
Let's talk about you on the mound.
Oh boy.
We've had
Actually, that stat, 0 ERA, right?
Exactly, that's a good
my
one.
favorite stat that you
Great
have.
stat. It's a great
MLB
stat.
leader all time.
Oh, yeah.
You've recently had 2 relief pitching appearances, and we don't have to talk about the scoreboard that led to that situation. But Andrew, what are your conversations with the Rangers staff ahead of time so they know that in those situations you're the go-to guy?
Well, anytime there's a lopsided score, I'll just say that, you know, whether we're up big or down big, you know, I'm always getting ready to give somebody a blow, whether that's going in behind the plate, giving Jonah a blow. I've played first base in the past, you know, so I always have my first base glove ready just in case. I have pitched one time a few years ago, so, you know, I knew I was able to pitch.
Didn't you pitch to Yachty? Wasn't it?
I pitched to Yachty, and my first out I recorded was Robbie Grossman.
Oh, wow.
Back when he
fun
was with the
fact.
Braves, so that's
Okay.
a little fun fact. So I'm, you know, any lopsided score, I'm always ready. You know, what am I getting ready for? You know, now I guess I have to get a little bit ready, you know, get my arm just a little bit more loose to pitch. But the conversation was pretty simple. Bochy came up to me and asked me, you know, if I'd be okay throwing off the mound in the game. And I was like, hey, if that's what the team needs, if I can save some bullpen arms, like, heck yeah, like I'll go and try to do my best. You know, I have a little experience pitching, you know, obviously from a few years ago, and just try to throw it down the middle as slow as I can. And hopefully they pop up or strike out or get out. But it's definitely it's an interesting thing being out on the mound. I will say it gives me a little bit of perspective from the pitching side of things. Like it's tough throwing strikes. That plate looks really small.
How was your experience when you're on the mound and Jonah Heim is behind the dish?
I will say Jonah does a pretty good job trying to frame those strikes for me. I remember throwing a Yachty. This is my one knock on Yachty. He wasn't trying to frame any strikes for me.
He didn't care at that
He didn't
time.
really care that much, but Jonah is back there working for me, which I do appreciate.
That's why he has a gold glove. That's why he has gold.
When I first pitched, I was extremely nervous. Like I went to spit on the mound and I couldn't eat. I had like no, I was
Like
like
dry mouth?
Dry mouth. Even though the score was again lopsided.
Thinking at a 106 exit velo coming at you, that's the scariest for me. It's like, oh gosh, just please don't have a line drive down the middle get hit.
I try to throw it where they won't hit it right back at my face at a million miles an hour. But after having a little bit of experience, like I understand now, like it's not that hard to lob a ball right down the middle.
Yeah.
So my main thing is like really in a blowout game like that and you have a position player on the mound, nobody really wants to take that at bat and nobody really wants to be the guy pitching in that scenario. So I just try to get the game over as quick as possible. Throw strikes right down the middle and let's get the game moving.
How do you balance having fun with it, but then when also the team's down by 10 plus runs,
Bader.
Being aware of the situation?
Yeah, it is kind of weird because when I when I get 3 outs in an inning, I don't give up a run. Like I want to crack a smile because I'm like, how are these guys not hitting me? I'm throwing like 40 miles an hour. But I kind of suppress it because I am aware of the situation.
Yeah.
I keep joking. I need to talk to Bochy and tell him I'm not pitching again until we're up by like 15 runs. Let's
then he can
flip the
crack a
score
smile.
around
Yeah.
so I can actually really enjoy it and give a little fist pump coming off the mound. But it's just such a weird scenario. I had a little fun the other day with one of my best friends, Harrison Bader with the Mets. He ended up he got the second hit ever against me. I was trying to get him out, but
They were laughing at each other.
Yeah, we were laughing, having a good time. But it's it's definitely a unique situation.
Yeah.
I was going to actually ask you about Harrison, outfielder for the Mets. They were just here last week. I believe he's also a groomsman in your wedding, which was really fun too. So when did the laugh start? Was it when he was in the on-deck circle, when he's walking up? Kind of when did you guys make eye contact and start cracking up?
It happened the inning before he had the at-bat. I think he was in the hole, or maybe he was in the hole or on deck. He was coming up to hit, and I remember looking in the dugout because I knew he was coming up. And he's looking at me, and he's just dying laughing. He's like,
so
bro,
jovial and...
no way you're pitching right now. And so I was, cracking a smile on the mound, anticipating the matchup for when he came up. But he had a good at-bat. He battled.
Talked about it at breakfast the next day with him.
Yeah, hit a double in the gap. I'm like, well, at least you didn't hit a home run.
Yeah, exactly.
So it ended up working out good. He got a hit, but he didn't score a run, so...
There you go. That 0 ERA. Stand strong.
Yeah.
Standing strong.
I would have been
Very
mad if he's the
effective.
one that messed it up.
Did you see the clip of Scherzer screaming at Alonso when you walked in?
Yeah, we talked about that at breakfast with
We
Bader
did.
too, and Bader gave Alonso some crap too. It was like, dude, it's a position player. Like, why are you trying to draw a walk? Like,
Yeah.
swing the bat.
Yeah.
But I guess Alonso didn't want to mess up his swing. At
timing.
the 40-mile-an-hour lob was a little too nasty for him.
Let's say you could have any player in baseball that you would never have to face on the mound. Who would it be?
Oh,
Or who would you least want to face in all of baseball right now?
I would probably have to say, Ohtani could be up there. He hits the ball
Acuna.
really, really hard. I faced Acuna before. I know he's hurt, but he was the first guy to get a hit against me. Him and Bader, only two. I would have to say Ohtani. I feel like that swing with my lob, that could be scary, hitting it right back at me.
Yeah.
Lefties throw me off a little bit anyway, their bat pass. So I would probably have to say Ohtani.
That's a great answer.
I don't think anyone wants
I
to
love
face
it. Well, we'll drop it there for a little bit. On the other side of break, we'll talk about how these two met, play the newlywed game, and talk about their upcoming wedding. Don't go anywhere. Justin is proud to serve as both the official boot of the Texas Rangers and the presenting partner of the Rangers Deep in the Heart podcast. Join the winning team and embrace the spirit of Texas by stepping into a new pair of Justin boots today. Crafted for fans who demand nothing but the best, Justin boots are the perfect blend of style and comfort. Walk like a champion and shop now at justinboots.com. Justin, standard of the West since 1879. Okay, so you two have a modern day love story. I believe it involves Instagram, so Ally, I will let you tell the story of how y'all met.
I slid in his DMs after he followed me. I was looking at his Instagram like, oh, he's cute. Pretty blue eyes, blue-green eyes. We actually argue about if his eyes are blue or green. I think they're blue. He thinks they're green, but depends on the shirt he's wearing that day. But I slid in his DMs. We talked for 3-4 months, just on social media and text, phone, all that sort of thing. And then we finally met in 2018 spring training, and it'll be 7 years in February of 2025. So thank you, Instagram. I used to be kind of embarrassed by it, but now I don't care.
It's such a normal thing in this
Yeah.
day and age. It's how everyone meets. It's like Instagram.
I was
a dating
19,
app.
he was 22, so all good.
Andrew, what do you remember about the first time you two met in person?
I'm curious.
Well,
about this.
it was nice because we kind of broke the ice. We had a couple FaceTime sessions before we officially met. So I put her through all the baseball quiz questions and
Yeah, I asked him what his pop time was. Things like that.
So we had some good conversations before we met. So what I remember most about her, how beautiful she is.
Cute.
No, it's just, Ally is Ally. She's awesome. Obviously, just a ball of energy and personality, which I kind of knew already. But really, when we met the first time, it was like we'd known each other forever, and it was just like we hit the ground running, and haven't looked back since. So, it was a great first date, and
Yeah. It
here
was
we
like
are
a group
today.
setting. We had some friends, some of his teammates, and there was another girlfriend there. And we went to a place called Utiki in Jupiter, where we live now. We're actually getting married right next door to Utiki, so it's sentimental, same background and everything like that. And he proposed right next to that, so that's all sentimental for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ally, what do you remember about the first time actually meeting in person and taking things off social media?
Yeah, I think he's so smart. Like, he's so intelligent. He just, like, knows things about everything. Like, I feel like we just, you do. Like, we'd be talking about something random and he, like, knows something. That probably comes from, like, his mom and his self-discipline in school and, like, maybe growing up in Virginia. I don't know. You know so much about history and stuff. But first date, like, how he interacted with other people is always really important to me. Like, if you're nice to the server, like, to me, that's, like, a red flag if someone's, like, impatient or, like, mean to the server. So I feel like how he was interacting with, like, the service people and then also like with his teammates and other people, like, he's just good in like a group setting. And like, I feel like we have the type of relationship we can go into a room full of people, we can be together and talk, or we can separate and like talk all night long. Like, we don't need to be by each other. And that's like one of my favorite things about our relationship.
You also danced for the Miami Dolphins, which is awesome. So you had a taste of the NFL life. But when you first two started dating, what was your biggest reality check about the chaos of a baseball season?
Well, I always say that I made it to the big leagues before him, so there's that. I made it to the show first, but I mean, I was so busy with cheer, and I was also in college simultaneously, and I was 18. So, like, living in Miami, being 18, full-time student, and cheering, I mean, we had, like, no time. So I would see him once a month, once every 2 months. So we really, like, learned how to trust each other and communicate, and I think that was all great things for our relationship now. I mean, we were long distance for 5 years. And then finally, like, I went to my job and asked them if I could be remote, and thankfully, like, they're flexible enough to where I can do that and kind of have my job anywhere. But that minor league travel, I remember I would, like, be so tired when he'd be done with games. So I would set an alarm at, like, 2 a.m. when I knew he was going to be done with the game just so I could talk to him. Or, like, I'd be on a military tour in Cyprus or the Netherlands, and he would, like, wake up early or stay up late just to talk to me. So, like, the scheduling and, like, timing was probably the hardest part of it. And like the biggest reality check with the minor leagues and like the money part of it. I mean, both of us were like pretty broke. I was making more as a cheerleader than you were.
That is
but
true.
Wow.
We'd like literally have to call our parents, and I'd be like, Mom, can you give me money for my flight to see Andrew? Or, I mean, it was, yeah, I remember once they drove me to New Orleans to see him from Miami. I mean, yeah, it was hard, but.
So I want to talk to you about your job with
Yeah.
ESPN, which is amazing. So it's really cool to see how your job and obviously the baseball world kind of come together. So what is an overview of the job that you have with ESPN?
Yeah, so Good Karma Brands is a sports marketing company. So they're like who signs my paycheck and who I work for every day. But we are essentially the operators of ESPN's like digital inventory. So when you're on the ESPN app or ESPN.com and you see an ad, that's how we can integrate our partners. Same thing with events all around the country. And then where my expertise lies is the ESPN National Radio Network and podcast. So last July, Good Karma Brands acquired all the sales and operations of the ESPN network. So I get to work with Pat McAfee, Adam Schefter, Mike Greenberg, Evan Cohen, and the morning show. So I get to do podcasting and radio all day long. I get to work in play-by-play, and I get to be in sports. We're having a live podcast event over the All-Star break with Buster Olney for Baseball Tonight. So it's exciting to kind of like have our jobs intermingle. I feel like it's like helped the both of us a little bit. I definitely use and abuse him anytime I can. I'm like, I need you to sign this. I need you to do this. I need you to make an appearance at this. And he does it. He jokes. He's like, should be on the Good Karma Brands and ESPN payroll because of how many things I drag him to. But that's how he supports me and my job. And he knows that he does that because I support him in his job. So
what has been the most recent either event or something that you had scheduled where your two worlds really came together?
I feel like every event.
It's like every event, yeah. Like I feel like one of us always knows like someone, whether it's in like the media or marketing world or like in the baseball world. I mean, for me, like being at his events is a great networking opportunity. So like different companies that are national and want to be on ESPN, I get to like throw my business card out there and I have like a good like in. I feel like makes me more like legitimate in my like job, I guess you could say, because then people know that I understand like the baseball life.
I think it just depends where we're at. Like during the season, you bring a lot of partners to
I bring partners to games like all the time.
So they're able to kind of, we can use the tickets and, she can
batting
show
practice.
Yeah,
people
partners
that are
a good time like
fans,
that.
Yeah.
And then like in the off season, you have a lot of bowl game things.
Yep.
And
or like the Breakers golf tournament. Probably that's like a lot of, so like one of my teammates or like coworkers, we call them teammates, they have a big foundation event at the Breakers in Palm Beach, and they have like professional athletes there, so they were able to like reach out to me and be like, hey, you work for ESPN, but also we would love your fiance to play in the golf tournament, so we get to go, and it's like kind of over Christmas time, so it's a lot of fun. So I feel like our worlds really collide there because like I'm there for work and fun, and then like you're there for fun but supporting me in my job.
Always back and forth.
Yeah.
A lot of juggling, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, I'm busy. I'm busy. I mean, I'm all day long. People are like, "How do you do it?" I'm like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'll sleep when I'm dead."
How do you balance your full-time job with baseball season? Like, what's the percentage of traveling versus being here? I mean, you are remote, like you mentioned, but how do you juggle that?
Yep. I mean, I have great managers and great teammates that really support me. I coordinate flights like before work hours or after work hours or on weekends. I probably go to like 2 away trips a month. It just kind of depends on like how many meetings I have that week. If I have like big presentations, like I probably won't go to an away trip if it's closer, if the flight times work out. So it kind of just depends. Thankfully, we have a great support system around us and our parents, so they help with our dogs and our house back in Jupiter. And so that kind of allows me to be a great fiance and support you, but also be a great teammate and like kick butt at my job.
You also have another full-time job, and that's planning a wedding.
Yeah, that too.
So how have you, you're shaking your head, you're like, oh boy.
Wedding planning is
great,
easy.
Honestly.
Yeah, what have you done?
anything.
What have you done so far, Andrew?
He just
Let's
says yes,
talk about that.
or I like that, or like,
No.
yep, that looks good, or no.
Yes or no?
You haven't said no really to anything, though.
That's true.
I mean, I'm the one who's been more like, I mean, weddings are out of control nowadays, out of control. And we're getting married, I feel like, at a destination, even though it's home for us. Jupiter is like a destination to other people, so it's like Palm Beach. And yeah, it's wedding planning. I have a great wedding planner that helps me a lot, and she sends me notifications like every day of what I need to get done. So I'm most excited just to like have everyone in one place and like everyone celebrate. It's going to be, I feel like, a baseball extravaganza because there's a lot of baseball players and families that will be there, along with like tons of family and friends that we, don't get to see all the time because we're always gone, So we have no family or friends here other than the team. So it'll be nice to hang out with everyone. We're kind of making a whole week out of it. So it'll be fun. And then I'm excited for the honeymoon.
Where are you going for the honeymoon?
We just booked our flights. We're going to France and Switzerland.
Wow, that'll be fun.
Over Christmas and New Year's. So we're getting married December 20th. We're leaving the 22nd for Paris. And then we'll be gone like through the very, very beginning of January. So it'll actually be our first ever just us vacation together.
Ever.
Yep, ever.
Wow.
I've been putting it off, and now she's accumulated all the little mini vacations we could have done.
All into one, baby.
Put it all into one, so it'll be fun. We'll have a good time.
Yeah. So
What made you choose France and Switzerland?
Well, we live by the beach, so we're like, we don't really want to go somewhere tropical. We get like that tropical aspect being in Florida. I mean, we could like literally bike to the beach if we wanted to. So we could have gone to the Bahamas or Aruba or something like that. But I had the privilege of traveling a lot when I was with the Dolphins to like visiting military. So I've been to a ton of different places in Europe, and it's just a dream. It's like the architecture, the history, the food, the people, the culture. So London was like the first, I feel like, European country, right? You went to?
Yeah.
Last year when the Cardinals played over there. And he loved it. Like, I feel like you love history and architecture and food too. So we just figured Europe, Christmas markets, Paris. Who doesn't want to go to Paris on Christmas Eve? So, yeah.
I'm jealous. I might have to tag along in the
Give you a
suitcase. That sounds like a lot of fun. I know it's a honeymoon, so maybe I won't.
Yeah.
But that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for you guys. Going off of that, we're going to play the newlywed game.
Okay.
I guess newly fiance game, however we want to
Near
call it.
newlyweds.
So I guess come December, we will be newlyweds, and I'm sure showers and things like that leading up. So how it's going to work is, Andrew, I'm going to ask you 3 questions about Ally, and she'll have to say if they are correct or incorrect.
Okay.
And then Ally will do the same about Andrew. So I can tell you guys are nervous.
If I'm wrong,
it's going
just
to be
lie.
easy.
If
Okay,
I'm
I'll
wrong, just
lie.
lie. Make me look good.
I'm gonna like go like this to Hannah underneath the table so she
Perfect. Okay. What is Ally's favorite guilty pleasure TV show?
Oh my gosh. These are gonna be hard questions because we watch a lot of TV together.
We do. Yeah.
We're always watching different shows. Like
Always.
we're one show to the next, to the next, to the next. Guilty pleasure TV show has got to be. It's in there with probably one of those like dating show. I don't know all the names of them. Like the dating
Like
shows.
the trash TV dating
Always.
shows.
Trash TV
Like, I
dating
can't.
shows.
They're just too good. Like they're too good.
Yeah, she loves those. She's watching those all the time. Those aren't my favorite.
He doesn't really.
I'll
watch
tune
those.
in like a little bit, like here and there, but I would definitely say those.
Yeah, I force him to watch like the first episode of The Bachelorette and Bachelor every year.
Always a good
I
idea.
always say I'm not gonna watch, and then I do. So
Yeah.
he watches like the first and the last episode with me.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 for 1. What has been the best present you've ever given Ally?
Ooh.
Best present. Probably on her finger.
Right here. 6.5 years.
Yeah.
Definitely the best present.
I think that would, if you consider that a present.
Yeah.
I think if you don't count that engagement ring as a present, it would have to be probably the 2 puppies we have.
Yeah,
Those are
definitely
the gifts that keep on giving.
Yep.
And you just got a second puppy.
Did.
Tell us about that.
Piper. We have 2 Porty Doodles, so they're Portuguese water dog poodle mixes. Luna is like 20 pounds. Piper will be like 30, but it's like people are like, why would you get another puppy during baseball season while planning a wedding? And I'm like, you know what? No time like the present. Why not? Honestly, I love having them as like companions when he's gone because I do work so much and I don't get to travel probably as much as other people do. So when he's gone for 10 days at a time and I have my 2 little bestie girls running around with me, like they keep me company, like they sleep with us, so go on walks all the time. So I definitely the best present.
And Dallas is really dog friendly too.
Yeah, and we live like by Katy Trail and stuff, so
it's perfect.
Perfect location to walk them and walk to get coffee in the morning and then walk back.
They're so cute. I wish you guys brought them to the shoot. That would have been awesome. Okay, finally, so I guess we'll say 2 for 2. Engagement ring is a great gift, so that counts. And then finally, what sports or activities did Ally do when she was little?
She always has been a dancer. Cheerleading.
Yep.
And I think you have a couple. You did a little track and field. I think I remember some embarrassing stories about that. We won't share that on online, but
I hated track. I was pretty good at it, but I'll never forget I did not want to compete. Like I did not want to compete in this 1600 meter or whatever it was. And I remember my mom was like, "You're gonna compete. You committed to it." I was like Converse Bermuda shorts from Abercrombie and a polo. And she like drove me to this high school track and was like, "Get on that track right now." And I remember starting to run and then I cut across the grass, jumped over the fence and got back in the car. I ended up competing. Okay, I did. I followed through. But yeah, I did classical ballet for 12 years. So I started dancing when I was 3 and I cheered in high school and then NFL cheerleading was like the pinnacle of what I could have done. So yeah, good job.
That's great. I think, too, for dance, running is also just the worst form of punishment. Like, I was a dancer, too, so I even know, like, in this day and age, like, I hate going for a run. Like, there's no way.
I don't like running. My body hurts afterwards. I hate it.
And
I'll
we're
never
tall,
do it. Yeah,
so.
I just don't like it. I'll never, like, half marathons, nah.
and I'm a catcher,
5K,
so you know
nope.
I hate running.
Yeah.
That is fair. Okay, so 3 for 3?
Yeah.
Good job.
3 for 3. I like
Okay.
3 for 3s. 3 for 3 days are
3 for
good
3 is
days.
good.
We love a 3 for 3 day. Okay, Ally, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What is Andrew's biggest fear?
Ooh, biggest fear. Probably like sharks.
And they're in Florida now. There's
I would
been a
have to
lot.
say sharks. Like, I know that sounds silly, but, and it's not that he like hates sharks or doesn't, like, it's just, we'll go on the boat, we'll go fishing, but like, we will not get in the water. Like, no shot, we're getting in the water. Like, he won't even put his toe in. Like, we don't dip in the water. Like, we went on a boat in Miami on the off day. He's like, nah. Like, he was on the boat, but just not in the water. Is that like
Yeah,
a
it's
good
definitely
one?
a realistic fear
Yeah.
for the hobby that I like to do, which is
Yeah.
fishing.
I mean, like a fear of failure, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
fear of getting out. That always
fear
scares
of getting
me.
out when you're over the plate.
But yeah, so
Unfortunately, baseball, that happens a lot.
yeah, sharks definitely scare me a little bit, And then when I'm fishing in freshwater in Florida, alligators are a little scary too.
Yep.
So any of those predatory water creatures, I am out on.
Exactly.
Totally.
So valid. So valid. Okay, one for
job.
one?
You're 1 for 1.
Okay. What is Andrew's dream fishing trip?
I would have to say Costa Rica. We've talked about Costa Rica a lot. We've heard like there's great fishing there. Toyed with the idea for him doing that for like his bachelor party, but like expecting people to go to Costa Rica is kind of crazy. So I'll probably have to say Costa Rica.
Yeah, that's a lot of fishing shows I watch. There's guys going to Costa Rica catching massive fish, and
Yeah.
and definitely that would be a cool trip.
Okay, 2 for 2?
2 for 2.
All right, final one. What is the number one thing Andrew has to have at the wedding?
Number one thing you'd have to have at the wedding.
That's a tough question.
Or the thing that he
I don't
cares
even
the
know
most
what-
about?
Me? That I show up? No. You don't even know what the answer to that is.
I might not even know the answer.
I would say the 3 things we've talked about is like good music, good food, and like good people. Like we just want people to have a good time. So for us, like we had a list of all the different components that go into a wedding. It's like, what are we going to prioritize? What are we going to splurge on? What are we going to save on? And we said like the music and DJ is really important because that sets the whole tone for the wedding, and then like having great food. So, and like some fun signature cocktails. So, yeah.
I'd say that's right.
Do you know what my signature cocktail would be? Or what's like my go-to drink?
Amaretto sour.
Yep, there we go. Good job.
Nice. Okay,
Yeah.
what's your signature cocktail?
Old fashioned.
Yeah.
Smoked old fashioned if they have it, but
Yeah.
definitely an old fashioned.
Old fashioned. Really anything with bourbon.
Yeah, for sure.
Perfect.
Do you have your first dance song figured out yet? Especially being a dancer, I feel like the expectations are pretty high.
Oh, I told him yesterday, I'm like, you realize we're starting dance lessons soon. Like, he's like, I'm a professional athlete, I'll be fine. I'm like, no. We're not just going to sway back and forth and go like this the whole entire time. Like, I want a choreographed dance. Like, nothing too crazy. There's a couple of songs that I love. I love Biblical by Callum Scott. I also love 1,000 Years by Christina Perri. That's kind of the one I'm like leaning towards right now. But we also I love Elvis and like old school songs too. We like lived in Memphis for a second. So I feel like that could kind of be unique. So go back to the AAA days. Not that I ever need to go back to Memphis ever again in my life, but
I'll just say yes to whatever song she picks.
Yeah.
And learn the dance.
Exactly.
There you go, choreography.
Exactly.
Do you remember what I told you about at spring training about wedding planning? The piece of advice that I gave you?
Well, just say yes.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just stand there, shake your head,
Happy
yes.
life, happy life.
That's what I said.
Who were we talking to last night that was just like
Yeah.
at the event? The
Oh, it
seniors
was
event?
Bochi.
Oh yeah, Boshi was like, we were
it
talking
just say
about
yes?
something, and he goes, "Just go like this, kids. Just go like this." And Kim was like, "Exactly."
It's true. You'll show up, and it will be the best surprise party of your whole life.
Yeah,
I will tell you
exactly.
that.
Yeah.
So,
and we're not doing a first look, so it'll be even bigger surprise.
Yeah.
and
It'll be a good
practice
time.
crying ahead of time, like the waterworks,
told
the
him.
little dab in the eye for the picture,
Listen,
and
if you don't cry, I'm turning around.
That's what
I'm
I
gonna
said.
walk back, and I'll try again until you cry. Put some tahini on your eye. Just go like this. He's very like jovial and exuberant and like smiley, so I feel like he's just gonna be like beaming, which I'd be fine with. But you better be beaming. But I don't know. I think you might cry. I think he cried in our proposal. He said he was throat choked, whatever that means. He's like, I just felt choked up. I'm like, no. There was some tears, but
We'll see. It'll be a game time decision.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
a lot of spray charts and wedding seating charts in your futures, I can assume.
Exactly.
So, on the other side of break, we have Start, Sit, Give the Boot. Andrew and Ally will answer your submissions, and I'll ask my signature question. Don't go anywhere. Some people find comfort in sitting still, but not you. You were born to explore, to seek out adventure, and to live life to its fullest. Discover the Frontier Collection by Justin today, featuring out-of-the-box comfort and 12 stylish designs. The Frontier Collection is built for those who go the extra mile and get the most out of life. From the saddle to the streets and everything in between, the Frontier Collection by Justin is right there with you. For just $199, you can find your Frontier today at justinboots.com. And speaking of Justin Boots, Andrew and Ally, we now have Start, Sit, Give the Boot. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Start will be your favorite, Sit will be kind of middle of the pack, and then Give the Boot to your least favorite. So, Ally, we'll start with you. We'll do honeymoon destinations. I already know you're said doing Europe, so I might know your answer on this one, but we'll do Start, Sit, Give the Boot to Mexico, Europe, and the Bahamas.
Okay. Europe, definitely my favorite. Start, you said. Sit on the Bahamas and then give the boot to Mexico, just because I've been there like 4 times already. So, and the last time I went there, I actually went to Mexico City and I got altitude sickness. So,
Ooh.
not planning to go back.
That is fair. Okay, there we go. Andrew, for you, we'll do fishing trips or types of fishing trips. So we'll do inshore, offshore, and freshwater.
I'll start offshore. That would probably be my favorite. That's where you catch the biggest fish.
Yep.
Sit on inshore fishing, just because that's kind of my day-to-day. That's like an everyday thing for me in the off season. Then I love freshwater fishing, but I'd have to give that the boot. That's the smallest fish, so I'll probably go by the size of the fish there. Offshore, inshore, freshwater.
There you go.
And the sharks potentially
Yeah,
could
yeah.
be an issue as well. So,
Yeah.
love that. Okay, now it's time for my signature question. So, let's say you each miss the flight to Seattle. So, the team's playing the Mariners. You somehow miss the flight and you have to road trip 2,000 miles. Ally, we'll start with you. Which Rangers wife, girlfriend, or fiance would you take on the road trip?
That's a good one. I actually road tripped with Kaylin Carter this year with our dogs, and that was amazing. So she'd definitely be up there. Maddie Seeger is such a good time, and same with Claire and Amanda Grossman. So I would have to say, like, all 4 of us, all 5 of us pack into a car and go with the dogs. Why not?
I love it. Just get a giant SUV, just throw all the
Exactly.
girls in, all the dogs.
Yep.
Love it.
And Maddie always has the best snacks, so she really sends it over the edge for me.
What kind of snacks is she bringing?
Well, she's like has all the healthy snacks. Like she always is prepared in her purse with snacks. So if anyone's ever like getting hangry or like their blood sugar's dropping, she's like, I got a chump, I got this, I got that. And then she put me on to, I like don't drink soda at all. Like I'm not a fan of carbonation, but she put me on to the cherry limeade poppies.
So good.
And so she always has a poppy for me.
So good. Those are the best. Okay, great. So
Yes.
car full of the girls.
Yep,
Love
exactly.
it. Okay, Andrew, what about you? 2,000 miles, a lot of hours in a car with either a player or a coach. Who are you going with?
I'm gonna have to go with my man Bobby Wilson. I feel like he's the most spontaneous out of the group, so we would definitely have some great conversations and probably make a lot of pit stops along the way to explore the United States. It would be a fun time.
Define explore the United States.
Well, if we have that long, we're gonna pass a lot of different landmarks and probably some different things where we get out and
Stop and do catching work.
yeah,
maybe
we
on the
stretch
way.
our legs.
Make
Yeah.
some TikToks.
Make
Yeah,
some
there you
TikToks,
go.
you know, put some Instagram reels on Bobby's Instagram, see if we can get him a couple million views. It'd just be a great overall trip. We'd have a good time.
I love it. Okay, Bobby Wilson and a car full of girls.
Love it.
So it's time for some fan questions. So we'll talk about your time at NC State. Your freshman year, you were part of the Louisville Slugger freshman All-American team. What was your key to success that season?
You know, going from high school to college is a pretty big jump. And one thing I've always kind of prided myself on is being coachable. And I think something that really helped me was getting to NC State. I went early. I went in the summer semester to kind of start my transition. But really starting, especially in the fall when we did fall practice, like buying into the hitting philosophy. Coach Hart is amazing down there with the offense, and really just letting those guys mold my swing and just trying to learn as much as I can, you know, on something that's a totally different level than high school. And really just going out there and competing hard and putting in the extra work, and obviously having good grades in the classroom takes pressure off of, you know, having to worry about, you know, school stuff. So focus hard in the classroom and, you know, lay it on the line between the white lines. So
I'm sure your industrial engineering classes really helped you be successful that year.
yeah, once I got through those, it was like baseball was like the fun part of my day after sitting through all my engineering classes. So I was maybe going into it with just a really good attitude. But, you know, it was great. The coaches were awesome at NC State. Still talk to them every day. They're amazing. Had a great run this year. Lost in the College World Series, but, you know, to get there, to be one of the top 8 teams, you know, and they've been pretty much a top 10 program for the last, you know, 15 years now. So they're doing a great job. Coach Avent, Coach Hart, they're top notch.
Going off of NC State, so Trey Turner was 2 years above you. Do you have like a fun story about him that stands out to you?
I don't know if I have any G-rated stories. No, I'm just kidding. Trey was great. Trey was really good. He was good to me. He was kind of showered me with a little tough love, which, you know, I think did help me mature as a player. Obviously a guy that's, you know, he was really, really good in college. He was, you know, whatever he was,
Yeah.
13th overall pick or whatever. So, you know, to have a guy that went through it and did it at the highest level in college to kind of mentor me on the left side of the infield back when I was a third baseman, you know, that was great to be able to learn from him. But obviously he's had a great career and continuing to do amazing things. So really excited for him. Another guy that lives down in Jupiter, Florida, so I'm able to see him in the offseason as well. So just overall great guy.
That's going to do it for episode 5 of Rangers Deep in the Heart. Signing off from Globe Life Field, I'm Hannah Wing. We'll see you back in a few weeks.